Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Dr. Rao. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, just wonderful, wonderful. Having a really good weekend so far, and I'm excited to get this conversation going. Um,
Good, good, good.
how are you feeling about it?
I always talk, right? So I'm glad I'll be able to share some things that may help somebody, hopefully.
Yeah. And I was thinking, the last two we've had have been really, really good, and I've been able to capture some notes, which I think that for posterity we can reuse the content, either creating little sound bites, creating a podcast, creating different conversations around it. So,
Yeah.
for what it's worth, I think these conversations are really, really valuable. I know my friend Joshette is going to be joining in a moment. I know she's out in Little Rock, Arkansas. So, I figured why not? Let's just kick off the conversation and get the party started.
Good. We'll give a minute for people to show up and then we'll start.
Not a problem. Not a problem. How's the weather where you're at? Is you guys getting any of the snowstorm that we're getting
No,
out
we
here?
didn't get, we are in Iowa, but our part of, we are on the Mississippi, right? So Clinton, uh, we didn't get much snow this time. So we kind of, so actually it's a
Gotcha.
bright sun outside right now. So I was going to do this talk and then we are going to head it to Chicago after this.
Oh wow.
Me and my wife,
Oh
we
wow.
do some um, shopping, grocery shopping, especially Indian things and all that, we go there so, once in a while. So,
Wow, that's amazing. Are you going to be driving by any chance?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
We always drive.
I've done
Yeah.
I've done that drive before, but from Chicago
Mm.
to through from I was coming back from California, so I came out um, California through Utah
Mm.
and all the way across Nebraska, Iowa, and it was such an incredible drive. And I don't know. I recommend people to take the drive across America and see how much beauty there is. You know.
Yeah, it is, especially off the highways. If you go through the native America, rural America, that's a beautiful, beautiful to discover. So many weathers, so many, um, real good land to drive through.
Wow, that's that was my nomadic experience
Yeah,
during the pandemic. I drove from Boston all the way to California and back, and it was
yeah,
one of the
yeah,
most incredible experiences I've had.
yeah. Lately, the weather and all that kind of making havoc in California, other places. But generally, it's a beautiful land. But if you confine to the commercial thing, then you may reach the destination because you got to go early there. But then, if you really want to see the natural rural America, drive through it off the highways, off the tollways. It's a wonderful
Mm.
experience, I think. Yeah. Yeah. I've been to west, I have been to north, I've been to south, I've been to the west, east too. I lived in east and midwest, but rest of the place I kind of traveled. So
Mm, 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 mm.
there's
Yeah,
uh there's
I
one.
haven't done as much. Hey, Georgette.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Doctor.
No, I was going to say that in California there was a place called Ojai. It is 90 miles to Los Angeles, and that place is known for J. Krishnamurti running a school, talks, and all that. When he was alive, it was a regular feature. So we just wanted to see the place, so we traveled to Los Angeles, and from Los Angeles we drove. So it was very nice place. All orange orchards and beautiful trees and all. He used to do meetings under those trees. Like a 5,000 people used to come there to listen to him annually. So it's kind of exposition.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds incredible. 5,000 people standing under a tree. That sounds very spiritual, actually.
Yeah. They wanted to be, don't want anything, just to explore. You see, the talks are also not like instructions given to you. It's kind of you got to explore with the speaker, and then you don't have to accept anything, or you don't have to be a membership or anything like that. It's just exposing some thoughts and ideas that you could embark on, and you don't have to take any particular route, but wherever your mind takes you can go there. um,
Yeah.
it's a very, very for me, those talks are so educational. I will mention that one of last night I was talking about how do you use thought efficiently, but then the topic was what is the difference between pleasure and the joy. So what they were talking about, Krishnamurti, he really, see, I'm a Western trained, educated physician, right? So we had to learn everything, the reductionist medicine. We got to anatomy, dig through all the organs, find out what's going on, that kind of thing, right? So I was used to the notion that thought is everything, get to use the thought and all that. But the distinction of where it is appropriate, where it's not, I think Krishnamurti made it for me. And that also not by instruction. I never met the man, but I just explored talks with him, and my own mind arrived the discovery of what is truth about thought, right? Uh, Shortly, what I was saying about the pleasure was pleasure is built by thought, thinking about it and all that. Whereas joy is happening when the thought is still and you are in silence. So, in corporate America, for example, is all thinking. But what we are inviting them is develop the skill of stilling the thought when it is not needed, and then you will be discovering joy that is innate for you, and it is self-luminous, so you don't have to do anything except to keep yourself away from it. Yourself means your ego, and then you discover the unalloyed joy that is a very fundamental thing about everything. Anyway, so that place where he delivered those lectures and all that, even though I never visited when he was doing that, because it never really got. I was only introduced to him in 1983, and he died in 1985 at the age of 92 or so. But I have this habit of examining anybody's work. I don't just go by what they're saying, but then entire life's work and all. When you look at that, he's one of the profound, uh, what do we say? You cannot brand him as philosopher, thinker, or thought leader, any of those things. They don't apply to him. He's kind of takes a leap out of uh, thinking mind into perceptive mind. So that kind of thing. So it's a kind of, yeah.
This is really interesting what you're saying, because as I think about the last 20 years which I spent in corporate America, I think about the rise of the information age, or whatever you call it, the millennials, in the middle of the rise of the information age with the internet, and the boom thereafter with data moving up to the cloud, and social media and everything. And as you're talking about this, I'm thinking, because there is so much data that's out there right now, and there is so much that's vying for our attention. And so how do you, in this current day and age, even get to the point where you can say, I can quiet my mind,
Yeah.
or I can actually use thought as a tool.
Yeah.
Where, for example, if I need to put a nail into a piece of wood, I can go pull a hammer. I
Yeah.
can pull thought when I.
You're cut off, Anderson. Oh,
Back up. There we go.
yeah.
There we go. That may have been just a LinkedIn glitch there for a second, Dr. Al.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what happened, but I think you I think you
No,
should be back.
this is actually what you're saying is really the why I talk about these things, because the inner being, knowing yourself, enlightening, awakening, whatever term you talk about, is really an individual spiritual, endeavor, or that you everybody wants to, whoever, to judge anybody. Okay, but then how that is helping me, I'm an informatician too, right? I'm a master's in biomedical informatics. That means I deal with big data, EMRs, and role of information in our life and all that. So I'm actively involved. I'm not even talking about that, right? So that information age is really posing some challenges for us for our inner growth. And once you discover the inner fulfillment without all these things, then you would say these are valuable because of this. But then by themselves, suppose I don't have this inner exploration, my MD degree, my MBI degree would be meaningless to me. You know, that's the experience of many people. They have achieved so much outwardly, maybe they have become very rich, or they have earned a lot of name, or they have so much enjoyment, so many things they have done, right? But then when you really go and talk to them and ask them, they still say something is missing. Oh, I won this Nobel Prize, but still something is missing. I won this Oscar award. That something is actual accounts. It's not like we are imagining. Many Nobel laureates, they did say that something else is missing. I have to achieve something more. But this inner exploration is something that you are not just denying outward things, but you have seen that contentment, fulfillment, that is way, way above. That's where the ancients really spent their time to go inward. Whereas we moderns spend a lot of time outwardly to know the nail, to hammer it into there, develop a hammer, develop the skill to do it, so that we don't hurt our finger when we are nailing it. All those things we're good at outwardly. So make our life more comfortable, more easy, more protected from, as much as we can. We try to protect ourselves from the storms, from all those things, right? That knowledge is not at fault. But absence of the knowledge of inner self, and people are confused, people are limited, people are kind of not having harmonious relationship with themselves, to the others, and to the world. That's why this inner being is so important to look at. Okay, then everything becomes really a joy to do. Like I have joy when I come here to talk to people. The only thing is just express yourself, and hopefully that will touch somebody's life, or even if it is, then that's okay. That's good that they have done. You did your bit. That kind of self-sufficiency, contentment, fulfillment is there. And we are not spending enough money, time, and resources in the corporate world about that. That's my observation, I think that's the reality too. You can see the mental health problems. You can see the so many people getting into addictions. You can see so much of family destruction. So many things are happening that are not really needed, right? But we allow them to happen because we don't pay attention to the inner self. I think there are Renuka here, Georgette here, Namra, Amir. Anybody wants to come up and talk to us on this matter? Please do come up. Okay.
Yeah, you touched on a really good point, Dr. Rao, on the rise of mental health challenges. I know that we'd seen a lot of issues with mental health in the workplace, even pre-pandemic. Like I know a lot of people were trying to associate it with the pandemic burnout or COVID burnout, but pre-pandemic we had seen the rise of mental health issues, and we had kind of tiptoed around the issue and maybe in some ways addressed it by rolling out things like EAP, Employee Assistance Program, where you can phone in and get access to a therapist or something. But even still, those resources are very reactive because the root cause of a lot of the issue is not being handled. They're not addressing the fact that a lot of teams are under resourced right now. So how do you balance both of those things where when you're talking about that inner growth, that inner self development, and I see that Namra's raising her hand, so let me just pull Namra up. But Dr. Rao, how do you balance that inner growth, inner development with the acts of service that you need to deliver to your team in order to allow your team to continue to be productive? And I'm pulling up Namra right now. Hold on 1 second. Here we go. Here we go. Welcome, Namra. Hi, good morning, good day. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I am audible.
Yep, you're
Hello.
absolutely audible. Yep, we can hear you. Go ahead. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Namra. Thank you so much for inviting me. I am personal branding strategist and I am providing personal branding services for founders and CEOs. And I have a question. Can I ask?
Oh, absolutely. The microphone is yours.
Yeah. So my question is, how important is medication? Like I have seen many people, they think like taking medication for like mental health issues is like the medication has side effects. You need to have see therapist or do some exercise or do some yoga so that you don't have to take medication. But there are some things for some people, exercise and yoga is are not working. So how important is medication and how much these medications have side effects? So that's my question.
It's a really, really good question. Dr. Rao, do you want to go first, and then I can go second?
Yeah, sure. About your question, Anderson, from the perspective of being a physician for more than 4 decades, mental health problems used to come into the clinic and also into our study and worry about the health and wellness and all that, right? So many of the psychiatric patients that have organic disease, they definitely have to be under psychiatry. But the therapy part of it was really questioned because many corporations felt like they have got so much therapy, but they have not improved. Then I was introduced to the ancient healing systems, where Namra's question about meditation, I will come to it. So they were, from my study, what I came to realize is they had a much deeper understanding about our inner self than the modern, one single person like a Freud or Jung is different, but the Freud and other people, they developed everything out of thought. So if the thought is producing all the problems, when you create thought as solution, it is not working. That's where we are at. That's why psychiatry doesn't work completely, not enough. That is the that's the thing that has. Then the self-help has risen from the whatever wisdoms people have studied in their life, or whatever they learned from ancient systems or modern systems, right? It was going on. The mental health has taken a real uh, good dive to the bottom, because society has not realized the things that it is producing that is causing the worsening of the mental health. For example, this information overload is really causing attention deficit, poor concentration, and in some cases, like young teenage girls from Instagram are learning about suicide and committing suicide. Those kind of, that's a drastic example, but in general, the society is more divided. Nuclear families are more forming. Even the nuclear families are also going down, single moms and all that, right? So worsening of the mental health resulting from the society, they're getting more divided, right? But when you really understand we are all one energy, which even physics is saying now, the ancient systems talked about it quite a lot, that we are all one energy. That means Anderson, Rao, and Namra, Georgette, Alexandra, we are all in one energy, but we may manifest different bodies, different minds, and use that energy differently. But actually, we are all in one life, spirit, life, energy, and that's why we are not really divided. Even Bible says that too. You are your brother's keeper, and we are all, connected at that level. So ancient system concentrated on not dividing thought, but including thought, inclusive thought, in the sense of we can really relate to the inner human being rather than the external body and even the thought. Mental health is worse because that at the thought level we have not really uh, evolved, or we have not looked at the system that already evolved. But then this identification, the religion, faith, and all those things have come, then people dividing themselves. That's why I don't call myself any particular faith or particular country. I call myself global citizen and truly mean it. And also, I call myself as really in one energy. I am with everybody else. My patient comes in front of me. I see the being. I don't see all the other filters of sex or age or social status or money and all that. So that helps a lot. Why the corporate health, mental health is there? Because they are focusing on artificial things that are not really that important, like a deadline, like a this much quarterly profit. Or even now, I hear that all the time. Any room, the people say how much money you go to make, as if that's the only thing that's important. It is important to have the revenue base, but beyond that, there is something else. So basically, what I learned was modern times look at how to make physical existence, or comforts around it, or making a living more important. But then once the people achieve that, then immediately they want to know what is going on, where did I come from, what did I, why am I here, where I'm going, what is death. Those are existential questions. These the ancient systems explored. So we are, as scientists, we are so much focused on the current science, which is fine. But then we neglect the truths that were revealed by meditative awareness of ancients. That's why I have a lot of respect to them. Now, Namra is asking of the meditation. Meditation is not one word, one way. There's so many stages of that. Okay? It's a big thing. But then people really need it now because they're always thinking, 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 and then don't know when to stop thinking and go into that insightfulness, right? Once you have that insight, then the meditation will be needed only when you really tax yourself. For example, if you get up in the morning, don't reach for the devices. Go to the nature, pay attention, see what is happening. And then when you are working, do the work and then stop the thought. That's what I do. If I see a patient, I will pay complete attention to the patient, I will review the data, but then I have learned through meditative awareness really end it right there. I don't want to cling to the unnecessary information. That is something is needed for the corporate health because they don't know when to use the mind properly. In other words, when you really use the thought efficiently and when you don't want to let it go out of his cage and be a boss for you. So make the thought as your slave. But then not everybody can do that in the beginning because mind is something that always thinks, right? So you don't want to reinforce that. What you want to do is I want to be focused. So I want to bring all my scattered thoughts together. And then I can use something to make my thought one pointed. So you could use worship, you could use prayer, whatever works for you, mantra, whatever, right? But then once I'm there to one thought, can I go beyond it and touch that inner awareness, which is you have to bring it forward. So you will be in awareness all day and use thought consciously. This is my way of living now, and that's what I help people to achieve that too. But it's up to them. They will be at various stages. And one of the things is the thoughts that are allowed to continue unconsciously will go into your subconscious and it will project at any time. So you want to, when you sit down the meditation, when you achieve some kind of maturity, you want to end some of these samskaras, they call it in yoga. They project from the subconscious, and those you have to heat them up and then burn them up. That people don't know. That's what I teach people to how to use thought efficiently, focusedly, and also finish it off and stay in awareness. Then you don't need meditation to sit down, but initially you need. So that's why it is all neglected because they don't care how your body is reacting to your work or how your mind is reacting to it, as long as ergonomic also came because they want to improve the bottom line by getting employees not to get to backache or neck pain. They have this back support chairs and all that. But they don't pay attention to how they are inwardly, what kind of motivation they have about themselves, or are they going to do the things that are needed? Otherwise, these societal forces will hurt us. They're supposed to be good, but we don't use them properly. You see, that's why I can be a scientist, I can be a doctor, I can be doing all that, but I also know how to calm my mind, how to keep it quiet completely and be still. Once you have the solitude of mind and you enjoy it, suppose I take a walk, right? I go out. I have we are a riverside city, right? We have the Mississippi next to us, so we have a just huge park, a couple of minutes drive, and in that there are so many pathways that you can go. We go there and we can either go in the car because there's so many hundreds of acres, or we can take short cuts. Then what I do is I completely get lost in that forest, and then I open myself to be listening to the leaves, to the birds. If there is a water running around, that whatever sound is coming outside, I kind of open to it. Then my mind completely gets purgated for all the nonsense we accumulate. But then what we do, we sit down in front of the TV or the device, or even talking to people like this is we have to make an arrangement and all. Even then, few people have come, right? So, but you know, what are they going after? Just a discussion and putting more stuff into your mind, but don't learn the art of getting that bad thing. See the good data, bad data, right? Any bad data that is there, all global gossip, I call it, the social media. Lot of these things that are unnecessary. They are not making really any enrichment of your life. But you can be informed. But you don't have to retain all the details of the Trump's, uh, you know, investigations and all the essence of it. But that kind of discrimination is not there. That kind of discipline is not there. So that is what we need to teach people. So Ramra, the meditation, people are doing it several, if you take decades, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and all that, a lot of people were not even aware of it. But nowadays, people really know meditation. Many people are trying hard. But the thing is, like anything else, they are not completely informed of the truths and not truths about the meditation. So people take different fads and different things. But essentially, the whole movement of yoga, Ayurveda, all these things are to really know your true self by turning inward and knowing true self. For that, you need to have this cognitive chattering mind quiet down. Then you will true nature will come out, right? But to calm this chattering mind, you don't want to provide more stimuli from outward. At least 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening, calm down first, and then go to one thought and go beyond that thought. Then you will end up in the silence because your true nature is silent. From that silence, our speech and everything comes. So it's a long process, and also all these complicating practice are there around you. So what you want to do is first not compare to anybody, but find out: am I quiet? Do I enjoy silence? I have a relationship with the nature. When I talk to somebody, do I dominate or do I listen to them? All those things are honestly your own things, right? You don't have to judge yourself against anybody, but just know what is going on at this time, not what you should be, what is going on. And then you have this human potential of silence, human potential of talking briefly, human potential of appreciating beauty around us, beauty around the people, and having these feelings of friendship or enjoying somebody else's success or really being happy and ecstatical and just singing or dancing. Any of those human things are there. We can do all of that. But we are so used to this chatter continuously, people are living in their mind, not in the present with relationship to the world and around it. Even a lot of people call me and ask me to talk about these things, but then nobody calls me afterwards. Even I tell them I'm available, you just talk to me. That kind of human, spontaneous, non-transactional, not expecting anything has become rare. We don't have to. We can in the corporation. We don't have to discuss business at the lunch. Let's know each other. Let those kind of things we have to establish. Once you pay attention to this affectionate, friendlier, spiritual, kinder, compassionate inner being, that is not attended much. That's what my complaint is. There's so much doing, but we are getting lost in that, and then out of that stress, burnout, out of that lot of illnesses, blood pressure, diabetes, all those things. So yogic way of life is this. Okay, do your job, but the rest of the time just enjoy your life, not be in the mind, be in the present. Did I answer your question, Namra?
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. Meditate is a kind of different word meanings, but then generally is like a ponder over. So one thing you can do to be meditative all the time versus episodic meditation where you sit down and calm yourself, shut your eyes and all. Can you meditate while you are walking? Can you meditate when you are working? Doesn't mean that you are neglecting. You are more focused, more attentive to what you are doing. And then you are not allowing the mind to go into the past or into the future, but really being with what you are doing. If you just do just that, you see, in my wellness club in the morning, I start with this. I tell them, okay, let us call this 1 hour as hour of awareness. That means you bring the awareness to the front and thought to the back. Don't think about yesterday. Don't think about tomorrow. Just to pay attention what you are doing here and now, and then go to the work and be attentive to everything that you do. And after that, you can enjoy the work also. Otherwise, you are in the head all the time. You are worried or you are regretting. that's not really productive for the work either. So if you are like that at the end of the day, suppose you had an experience where somebody insulted you, or boss has insulted you, or so your workers came and appreciated you, or your friends called and said nasty things or good things for you, you have some emotional reactions through the day. Don't let them go away. Just go into them, explore what was the reason why, and then as you reflect on those, review of those reactions at the end of the day, and eliminate them from your mind and go to sleep, is a very good thing to repair your mental health and your body too. That's the purpose of the sleep also. So once you understand what is a good sleep, how to do, all that comes from living in the present moment. That itself becomes meditative awareness. That's what my state is. I don't sit down and do meditation, even though I teach people how to get the hold of their mind activity. But for me, luckily, I station in that our core self, and that core self is not cognitive or is not chattering mind. When the chattering mind, and another thing is this egoic sense of ourselves with the roles and all that is not there, then you are meditatively aware. That means you are aware all the time, and that itself is very healing, very nurturing, and also you live the moment, you end it, dying to each moment too. So these are advanced things probably, but I have to mention them. Yeah.
Yeah, no, Dr. Rao, this is amazing. Thank you very much for that. Sorry about the background noise. That was that was someone on my street. But Namra, thank you for that question. And Dr. Rao, I'm just gonna put you right back on the hot seat because just in the essence of having a more complete answer to that question, I thought it would be interesting for you to expand a little bit on how to balance the use of meditation, which you just talked about, with medication, which
Yeah.
I know here in the West, it's really easy to get medication for mental health, especially with all the stress and burnout. When is it more appropriate to use some of the Eastern medicine, Eastern modalities like meditation, and when is it better to actually use the Western modalities like medication? Back to you, Dr. Rao.
Yeah, there is nothing like Eastern, Western on either of them, because um, the medication from the nature had been there for thousands of years, right? But then they were using natural product, not synthesized product like the modern medicines we have. The intention is to really help somebody who is ill and sick, you know. So I'm a modern physician, so I have to prescribe medications to a lot of people when they come in with like a advanced for example depression, and they don't have any control over that. We cannot to talk to them about all these things of meditation all at that time. We got to control the symptoms, otherwise they want to kill themselves, right? So we use the medication, and then we use least amount of medication that's going to get the highest amount of benefit. That's by being cautious about how much each person can take, and also what kind of other medications he's on, what kind of diet he's on, what kind of environment stimuli, all those things we'll examine. But I'm a holistic person too. That's why I may use medication, but also along with that, I want to examine their lifestyle, what's happening in them, and then point out certain things with them, explore, let the person realize that he's in badly, or he's doing work or thinking in a certain way that's not good for him. Once he realizes, maybe some avenues of journaling, or some avenues of going to the nature, or sitting down and singing, or so many ways are there, because I kind of know the ways of mental illness. I can take people where they are and then lead them slowly. But a combination of modern medicine plus ancient wisdom is the key for any of our problems. Don't say modern medicine is bad and then only ancient systems are good. No, or don't say only ancient systems are bad and modern systems are good. It's not that. It's being aware of what is the maximum use we can get from the modern medicine. And there's a so much struggle goes on to constantly rethink our truth about modern medicine. That's what is the scientific quest is. We may think something is true now, and tomorrow we may come up with a deeper understanding of the science, and we change that. Right? That is the constant evolution. The same thing with ancient wisdom. So, but here, modern medicine, at least most of the people understand, but that is based on Newton's physics, like a action, reaction, and reductionist model. But if you take the physics, it has progressed from that to now atoms and subatoms, much strands and all that, right? Now genome is also there. So not keeping with that insights of the modern medicine itself is the problem with the modern medicine. You got to some people realize, some people do, but it's not like a systemic. That's what we are hoping for. Like for example, I don't talk about only treating illness anymore. I talk about wellness, and that too proactive wellness. That means proactively, how can Dr. Rao for himself keep well? Does he suffer with symptoms and neglecting, or does he have any illness that he has to take modern medicine plus the ancient wisdom process, or his ancient wisdom habits are doing so well that he doesn't have to take medicine? But if it is a need there, then he will take it. But otherwise, having that proactive approach to personal wellness, wellness in the society, wellness of the planet, all those are my goals. That's what I do. So it's not like the experience of the ancient wisdom is something remote or Eastern, because there is so much contemplative ways in um, Christian vocabulary or practices that were there, that were done by the Christian monks here. So, not knowing them, we kind of divide our world, one earth. We are one human being tribe. But this language about Eastern, Western, maybe understanding, okay, but then inherent in that, there's a division. That's what I'm concerned about. So, I call that human experience, either ancient or modern, has a lot of wisdom. Let us explore that. Let us study that. Let's learn. Let's admit we may not know certain things, and we'll be open to learn that. And then really, so a modern man like me, I don't live with this information age dictating to me that I have to open my devices in the morning and immediately engage in that. My rooms, I do every day, one hour in the evening. I don't care how many people come or not. I just want to say something, I just come and say that. I don't have any expectations. But if people are not up to that, they don't want to do it, that's their prerogative. They don't have to come and listen to me if that is boring to them. But for me, it's important I relay my thing to my fellow human beings. That's why I do that. So why can't we live with using iPhone, iPad, and all that appropriately rather than unconsciously and allowing all sorts of things enter into our mind? That's where medication has its place, meditation has its place. But the essential thing is, if you live in awareness, if you live in quieting the mind, if you really discarding all this unnecessary junk, the toxins in the mind, then you are better off. That's the approach I kind of convey, Edison.
I love that. That's absolutely amazing. That feels like such a complete answer. Namra, I see your reaction over there. I just want to make sure that you got that you got fed. Namra, over to you. Any thoughts?
Thank you so much for explaining this, and thank you so much for inviting me and answering in detail. It helps a lot. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. I appreciate you. Thank you for jumping in, and come and hang out with us. And Coyote is in the audience, and Dr. Brittany is here. Welcome to the conversation. This is week number 3, where we are getting together to have these very thoughtful conversations that kind of intertwine in the intersection of wellness and technology. And where we started off our journey with Dr. Rao was 3 weeks ago, where we were talking about the spirituality in the age of AI. Nowadays, there's AI in almost everything. Kids are using it, and while we talk about all the good benefits of it, we have to also be aware of some of the challenges that come with it. Last week, when we got together, we talked about yoga. We went a little bit deeper and talked about some of the benefits of yoga that we don't even think about, we're not even aware of out here. Because when I got introduced to yoga, we were mostly talking about the asanas, the movements, and not necessarily the breath work and the mindfulness and meditation and things like that. So I just thought it'd be amazing to have Dr. Rao come in and share all of his wisdom on corporate wellness and how nowadays, because a lot of our systems are built around what we do, that and I'll say this because I want to quote Coyote, who was in the audience, that production value that our companies are always looking for from us, but they're missing out on our total value, the value of being a human being. I think it's really important to drive that message to organizations to raise the awareness that sometimes too much doing is not the way to be. It's really deepening into that being who we are, why we are here, what purpose that we serve. So thank you so much, Dr. Rao, for your thoughts. Any additional thoughts, Dr. Rao? I know we're coming on to the top of the hour. Go ahead, take it away.
It's a balance. Okay. I do enjoy the punctuality, the goal setting, and then achieving them. Only thing is, my approach is different, even though I agree with the goals and all that. I don't make goals as the most important while I am doing them. I'm trying to achieve them. So I don't miss the process. I kind of focus on what is happening in front of me. I may have a brainstorm. I may have some things that we need to do for the corporation. But then what am I doing during the process? I'm not focused on the goals, but I'm focused on what I'm trying to achieve here and now. Okay. Other thing is the balance. It's not just being and not doing, but doing becomes much easier. And I achieve so many things before 9 o'clock in the morning every day, because I start very early, and not because somebody is telling me, but I like to do that in the morning. And I do most of the things done by so many people all day. I do them by 9 o'clock, because internally you are focused, you are really using all your intellectual power, efficient intellect, right? And you are really not coming from some artificial goal, but from your love of doing things. And also, while you are doing things, you love it. Like I'm here, I enjoyed every moment of here because I was able to express what I think, and I was able to interact with a couple of friends here, and that's all. I kind of I don't expect anything else, but I do say you in a corporation or in anything, what it is enhancement of the human being is what I'm getting at. The enhancement doesn't come just with money, even though I know money, I earned it, I lost it, I earned it, I lost it, that's all okay. I have the comforts and all those things that are there that are not there for a lot of people. I think about them too, the equanimous nature of that. So enhance our inner human being, that will result in external riches that we may not be craving for them after we gain them. Suppose we are poor and we want to copy the Johnny next door and become rich, and we spend all the time in that. That's the problem. See, that was not like that in ancient education, where they focused on the entire human enhancement and then allowed them to go into their role and then do that. There was something bigger there, though. It's not about enjoying living things, but it's about contributing to the life as a whole. That's why they were able to take care of the nature, and they were able to take care of the families and all those things. But then contributing to the life is more important. But modern times, what happened? It is the ego, it is the sensory pleasure that are given a lot of importance. Everybody who wants to talk to me, they have this ego there that they also know they want to do. They don't know how much I know about they not knowing certain things. That's okay. But the thing is, don't have to have a personal ego in there. Think of all of us together, interconnected oneness. And then we're sharing it just to improve our lot. So that kind of contributing to the life is very important, I think. Once you come there, then you don't have your personal insecurities. You don't have any feeling of not achieving. You don't have like oh, I have to do something else before I feel complete, or somebody has to appreciate me before I complete, or, or I have something to say. I need to be acknowledged. I need to be affirmed. All those things are immature. They drop. So that is where the Western culture has uh, developed, and then now doing that to the Eastern cultures, which used to be different before. I always say about this story about the Bhutan, that was a kingdom. They had this happiness index, gross happiness index. They used to follow Buddhist principles of simpler living. So everybody has the same clothes they were wearing in the entire kingdom, and they were content and happy within, and that's what they valued most. So they were not that much about Western influences. But then I think late 80s or 90s, they opened the culture to the internet. All that is mental health, addiction, and all the violence, everything that was not there in the kingdom crept in. So that's where we have to be careful. Can we live in this society, use the technology in a proper way, and also understand why the human priority is stroked upon, not that's where what happens when you don't take care of your being. This division, this addiction problems, this mental health problems, they are all coming up. So it's a big thing, not a small thing. Anyway, I do a retreat on April 21st and 22nd, couple of days on this human enhancement and all that. Basically, how can we harmonize in the age of information age, well-being and the information age? That's the topic, and I would do 2 days of that, and then people who are committed only will be registered, and then they can get a lot out of that, I believe. And also, I speak every day in the evening. If you want to join me, I'm on all the platforms usually, Wisdom, Clubhouse, and other things too. So you can join me there if you want to, or you can DM me if you want to. I just want to make myself available. That's why I'm declaring that. Okay.
Thank you for that, Dr. Rao. That's absolutely incredible when you talk about the enhancements of the human being. I think at the end of the day, isn't that why we are all here, being on that path of personal or self development? And I see that Rohan joined us. Rohan, welcome back to this series of Nature of Work. It's so incredible. Like I'm just, as I'm listening to you, there are just so many different bites of data when you talked about like making sure that you're doing what you love, and you talked about waking up early in the morning. Those are all things which, practices which I used to wake up early in the morning because I would go running, but I never even thought about some of the mental health benefits of waking up with the sun. And so you touched on that, which is absolutely incredible, and then you talked about the money, and there's more to life than these comforts. I also thought that was incredible, like we had this money driven society, and the love of it is what takes us away from deepening our understanding of self and our understanding of our collective oneness. So These are all really incredible. But Dr. Rao, when you were talking about your retreat, I thought I caught it, but then I missed the dates of the retreat. When are the dates of the retreat, and what are the topics that you're going to be covering on those dates?
Yeah, it's April 21st, 22nd. I think they're going to release uh, the advertisement, the dates out that tomorrow probably. They showed me, and that's why I remembered that. And then this is about understanding information age challenges and how to really harmonize this information because I'm an active user of AI. I embraced it. I use it quite a lot, So I'm not into, just leaving them like that or blaming. I use the Chat GPT. Now I'm going to go into the Gemini. So embracing the technology for the good it can do for us is okay, but also be aware of what are the problems and how we can encounter those problems. So that's my part of proactive wellness. Instead of getting caught up with the technology and then suffering all the side effects, know about it. For example, I see that people have a lot of problems sleeping because they are continuously thinking and carrying the laptop all the time. That's the nature of the information age because you are given a project anywhere in the world. Some people do it in the middle of the night, especially in India. A lot of young people are working through the night because they are working for the American firms, maybe. But those people have problems with clock disturbance. The biological clock, I call circadian rhythms that we have. See, what I do is I kind of follow my own natural circadian rhythms. I sleep when I'm really sleepy. I eat when I'm hungry. Those two principles, if you can apply, you will improve a lot. Don't make food as a social thing. Don't make it as a pleasure. But you can enjoy it when you are eating the food. But otherwise, listen to your hunger cycle. Then you don't have to. I don't fast separately. All the people do fast, they eat a lot and then they fast. No, I eat with knowledge. I may have improved the content of the food knowledge quite a bit from the time that I been a medical student till now, right? Because I have taken Ayurveda course also. I understand a lot more about food and I eat much better food now than I didn't know before, right? So when I followed the food groups of modern medicine, I wasn't eating normally. But when I followed the Ayurveda's types of food, the doshas and all that, now my energy is to the roof. So it's a question of constant learning. So what I want to bring in is how can you, in the information age, harmonize this with spiritual well-being so that you live a complete life, both externally outward. You can work hard, you can make money, you can distribute if you don't want it, or you can just be happy with what you have and also experience a fulfilled life both inside and outside. That is the subject of those 2 days, and I will open up a lot of things because not everything can be done right away. It's not like you can read one day and then do it. You have to have a marathon like discipline and do them, but at the same time not feel like you are overwhelmed or crushed. That's not it. The idea is be happy and live your life well and enjoy you do all these things. That's what I'm going to present to them. It will start with human being. Human is humora. That's where it all came from, the earth, the body and the mind also. Whereas being is our inner spiritual spark, which is our life force, gives us the animation of the body and mind. So you got to understand how to exercise, how to eat, how to rest, how to calm your mind. All those are humor. Being is where you develop into a compassionate, inclusive, kind, loving, giving human being. That harmonization. So you just have to understand, if you have ego, you cannot do any of these things. Or if you are just sold on sensory pleasure, you may not be lasting longer because that will take their toll, right? But if you understand, there's much deeper understanding. We don't have to become to anybody's religion, we don't want to become a certain country or certain philosophy. None of this cultural or national or religious sectors, but we can learn from all those religions, all those faiths, all those countries, but live like a human being, free. That's my style.
Well, Dr. Rao, I really like your style. And you touched on quite a few things. And as we're winding down the room, I just want to give you your flowers and also give flowers to everyone who's shared the space right now. I know Georgette and Dr. Brittany were in here earlier and they had to leave a little bit early, but that's okay. Um, and Namra, thank you very much for coming up. And if you have any final words, I'd love for you to on mic and share any final thoughts. Um, but Dr. Rao, I just wanted to say thank you so much. My friend Coyote, who's in the audience, she sent me a message. She sent me a text earlier, and I'll just read out the text to you. It actually says, "This guy has so much wisdom. I appreciate how calm he speaks. Thank you very much for the space." Oh, thank you, Coyote, for these kind words. We will continue to have these insightful conversations. I think it's certainly necessary for us to find that balance, like you're talking about, between modern technology and ancient wisdom. And to Rohan, who has joined us before and he's back here today, I'm really grateful for your presence and the energy that you continue to bring and share in the room. But I don't want to make this about me. Namra, any final thoughts before we disconnect for the day, and I'll start winding down. Namra?
Yeah, thank you so much. And I will try to join future events as well. That was very helpful for me. And yeah, good luck for your future events as well. Thank you.
That's wonderful. I appreciate you. And I think, it makes sense to do these as audio events, but I know that Dr. Rao also does video events. So it might make sense for us to do one of these on StreamYard, Dr. Rao. That way folks can actually put a face a face behind the voices that I hear. So again, I really appreciate you, Dr. Rao, and thank you for all the wisdom and knowledge that you continue to share and continue to empower us. Any final words, Doctor, before we disconnect for the day?
Yeah, like I said, I meet my students in the morning. There's a wellness club. If you want to join, you can join there. And also in the evening, I do a live room. I kind of open on the clubhouse and wisdom. Those are the places where people come and talk. But also on the StreamYard, I'm on my Facebook group, which is called Conquer Burnout, and LinkedIn and YouTube. I think those are. Well, today also I opened on the StreamYard 3 channels and Wisdom also, because some of my friends have come there. 14 people are there. So I just allow myself to be seen by many people. That's why I open like that. I have the facilities, so I just use them. So every day 6 o'clock, that's the time when I kind of take off from my work because I already done, right? And then I will use that hour just to relate to my friends, which is a joy for me, just to speak about what I want to share without expecting anything in return. So that's where the joy is. If you expect something in return, then that becomes transactional. But if you don't, then just sharing itself, giving itself, whatever you have, is a reward for us. So giving is a reward, right? So that kind of thing. So join me if you want to on any of these platforms. On every day 6 o'clock, I'm there, and you can also come to my Facebook group, and you can also ask me questions and do that too. Yeah, these are all available things that I do. That's why I'm declaring them. Thank you, Anderson. And the other thing is, I don't know whether I will be able to maintain this commitment to the Saturday. I think I mentioned last time also, because I'm really going to be a chief wellness officer to the other big areas I'm looking for. I don't know when I'm going to end up with this, anytime probably. Then the whole schedule will be changing. But still, I'll make myself available whenever I can. but not on a particular hour on a regular basis. I don't like to be not punctual or deny something I committed to. That's why I'm telling you right now. My status will be changing pretty soon, and then I will be coming to different areas, different times probably. Okay, but you can always come to my live room and participate in any discussion you have. Okay.
Not a problem. I think that makes perfect sense. I think it makes sense to drive that traffic to your live rooms because those conversations are already happening, like you mentioned, daily in the evenings. And it was so insightful to join you in the evening the couple times when I got a chance to. So thank you so much for everything that you do and for holding space for everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and shut down the room. I think a lot of people have jumped off already. So it's been